required standards in order to progress through to your pay point. This will now be like a gateway at every placement. The employer will therefore be looking for you to demonstrate a number of factors: your knowledge, your skills and competency level, your standards of performance, and the delivery of your service. And that will be over a marked time period, probably a year, but in some instances on a more frequent basis to ensure consistency I'm now going to move through that the end of the presentation and hand you over to Kate Oldham, who will take you through the next bit. Thanks very much, Rachel. We're just missing out that section of any questions. You've seen that slide on your display or on the handout, really because there's so much to actually fit in today. So thanks, Rachel. And hello, everybody. I'm Kate Oldham, the United Health Sector Organiser, and I'm presenting part 2 of this United Health Thinking Thursday. Remember SMART. There's a diagram on the slide that I'm talking about. I hope it's still sort of synchronized with what you're looking at. But you may get a chance to review the slide again. But this slide actually reminds us that there's no point in having an objective that isn't specific, able to be measured for success, achievable for you, realistic, and have some type of time scale. On the next slide, which is number 19, we're going to see what could go wrong. Research tells us, so might your experience of working in health, that if staff aren't developed and supported, there can be some dire consequences. And forgive the pictures on this slide, they're a bit tongue-in-cheek. For anyone not able to see, there's a patient in traction suspended by their bandaged leg from the scene. And a poster which is genuine from the Lake District News and Star stating that NHS porridge is accidentally. But the recommendations in the front report should be taken very, very seriously. Patient care. Well, if there's no monitoring and training needs, it means mistakes could be made. And no one checks the quality. Not everyone is certain what they're doing, why, or even how to do it right. Services, there's pressure on the services of choice, mentoring for commissioning and contracts, and without checks on quality or improvement, it could mean that moving services to other sites or even providers, which means patients have to travel further for some treatment. And we are seeing this more and more with closures in A&E departments, maternity and other services. Staff, well, without support, staff naturally feel unhappy that they're not doing their job properly. They get more stressed and end up absent through illness, which of course puts more pressure on colleagues. And there's real danger that regulated staff won't be keeping their practice up. And there's the risk of cuts in the job. The risks to the organisation, well, bad publicity, more complaints, targets won't be met, which could lead to fines or loss of services. And it will be expensive. Mistakes are made or duplicated. There's more waste, money, time, and others. This makes services absolutely right to take over by private organisations. So it makes sense to carry out appraisals and reviews regularly to protect staff and the organisation. And from the early days of KSF, here's a quotation or a question. What happens if you train and develop your staff so they leave? Well, the question should be, what happens if you don't develop your staff and they stay? So with that thought in mind, on slide 20 now, you may ask yourself, do I need an appraisal meeting? Well, the simple answer is